Cars come with all kinds of bells and whistles these days, from heated seats all the way up to autonomous drive.
Consumer Reports rarely raises alarms, but this time, their message is deafening. The American car market is in serious trouble. The most trusted name in product testing is sounding the alarm on a system unraveling before our eyes. Sales are plummeting in critical segments. Interest rates are pushing buyers out, and even premium brands are seeing their customer base vanish. How fast will it all fall apart? Who's already on the edge? And could your own finances be next in line? This isn't a distant forecast. It's unfolding now. According to Consumer Reports, this isn't just another downturn. It's a potential collapse already in motion. The group, known for evaluating everything from blenders to Teslas, has shaken up the automotive world before. But this time, their message wasn't subtle. It was a flare shot across an already stormy sky. In their latest analysis, they warned that the US car market is teetering on the edge, not in the next decade, but right now. 3 major factors are driving this: steeply rising interest rates, ongoing supply chain disruptions, and a dramatic shift in consumer preferences away from traditional gas-powered vehicles. And this isn't a casual prediction. Consumer Reports has accurately anticipated market changes in the past, from the hybrid surge in the 2000s to the diesel scandals of the 2010s. Now, they're citing year-over-year sales declines approaching double digits in certain categories between 2024 and 2025. Even high-end luxury brands are feeling the pressure. Foot traffic in showrooms across major cities is falling. Consumer Reports put it bluntly: the car market's structural weaknesses are now plain to see. And that's the chilling part, because they suggest the visible cracks are just the beginning. Deeper, more damaging problems may be hiding beneath the surface of official statistics. If the raw numbers weren't enough, the bigger story is even more troubling. Buyers are disappearing, not because they don't want new cars, but because they simply can't afford them anymore. Thanks to aggressive rate hikes by the Federal Reserve, average car loan interest rates have shot up to levels not seen since the early 2000s. Where buyers once financed a car at under 4%, many are now facing rates of 7%, 8%, even 9%. That means a $400 per month car payment now looks more like $600 or more. Banks and credit unions are tightening lending standards. Loan rejection rates are rising, especially for working-class families and first-time buyers. Millions of potential buyers are being priced out of the market entirely. Dealerships feel the emotional impact firsthand. Salespeople stare at empty calendars, while families who once upgraded every few years are now holding onto aging vehicles long past their prime. One middle-class couple in Ohio described how they walked away, not from the SUV they wanted, but from the market altogether, after their financing quote came back several $100s more per month than expected. And as wallets close, cracks in the supply chain are beginning to split wide open. If this already feels uncomfortably close to home, it might be time to pay closer attention and share what you're seeing. Let others know what's really going on. You might be the warning someone else needs before they get in too deep. Now picture this: a showroom full of cars no one wants. Visit some dealerships today, and instead of empty lots, you'll see rows and rows of unsold vehicles. It's not just a supply issue anymore, it's a mismatch. Supply chain problems haven't affected every model equally. Instead, they've created an odd imbalance between what's available and what people actually want. Oversized SUVs and fully loaded trucks, once hot sellers, now sit unsold for months. Meanwhile, affordable compacts and hybrid crossovers are snatched up almost instantly, if they ever arrive at all. This disconnect is costing everyone. Dealers are slashing prices on slow-moving inventory, cutting deeply into their profits. Meanwhile, bidding wars break out over the few affordable, fuel-efficient models that remain. Automakers are stuck, still building the wrong mix of vehicles, because shifting production takes time and massive investment. From the outside, the market looks busy, but up close, it's broken. In Texas, one multi-brand dealer said they received 3 shipments of large SUVs in a month, while customers waiting for hybrids walked away angry and disappointed. Some areas are stuck in price wars, others are offering nothing but wait lists and apologies. But this goes beyond inventory. It's already starting to reshape corporate strategy. Wall Street is panicking, even before many drivers realize what's happening. Investor confidence is slipping fast. Following the Consumer Reports warning, automaker stocks have taken heavy hits, with some down double digits in just weeks. Analysts are slashing forecasts, pointing to not just weak sales, but long-term concerns about outdated strategies and declining reliability ratings. And it's not just the car companies feeling the heat. Suppliers, from tire makers to chip manufacturers, are seeing their stock prices tumble too. For smaller firms, losing one automaker contract could mean layoffs or even bankruptcy. The mood among investors has gone from optimistic to fearful, fast. One hedge fund manager compared it to the prelude to the 2008 housing crash. Everything looked fine on the surface, but insiders had already started to exit quietly. That kind of silent retreat can turn a slowdown into a full-blown collapse. The warning signs are flashing in trading rooms, but the real blow is still making its way towards the factory floor. Because when demand dries up and investment pulls back, the next to feel the hit are the people who actually build the cars. Assembly lines won't just slow down, they may go quiet. The sound of a factory floor is more than just background noise. It's the heartbeat of entire communities. But across towns in Michigan, Ohio, and Kentucky, that once steady rhythm has slowed to a whisper or stopped altogether. As car sales continue to slide, automakers are announcing mass layoffs. Some plants are now operating at only half their usual capacity. Labor data shows that over 30,000 auto industry jobs have been lost or furloughed in just the past year. In Lordstown, Ohio, a town that once made national headlines after the closure of a major plant, a partial reopening had rekindled hope. But now, that hope is slipping away again. Workers describe long periods of inactivity, entire shifts being sent home early, and parts of the production line covered up, as if frozen in time. For older workers, this cycle of boom and bust feels painfully familiar. But for younger employees, it's their first harsh taste of the industry's volatility. One veteran with nearly 3 decades on the job put it simply, "I thought my grandkids would see this plant still running." Now, I'm not so sure. Outside these factories, in the employee parking lots, conversations are short and quiet. Paychecks are shrinking, morale is fragile, and entire towns are bracing for the impact. The fight to protect their jobs is just beginning, and the picket lines are already forming. The strike that brought production to a standstill is now a common sight. From Detroit to southern assembly plants, rows of workers stand with picket signs in hand, bundled against the weather, chanting in unison. A wave of labor unrest is rising, sparked by fears over job security, stagnant wages, and the aggressive shift toward electric vehicles. Union leaders argue that while the industry moves toward EVs, traditional manufacturing jobs are being cut under the guise of progress. In the past year alone, 4 major strikes have disrupted production. Some lasted only days. Others stretched into weeks, costing automakers hundreds of millions of dollars in lost output. Workers are asking for more than higher pay. They want solid commitments to retraining for EV roles, improved healthcare, and wages that actually keep up with the cost of living. These protests have become rallying points, not just for auto workers, but for employees in other industries worried they could be next. At a Midwestern SUV plant, seasoned union members and young new hires stand shoulder to shoulder. Their signs read, "Our jobs, our future." Passing cars honk in support. While corporate management urges compromise, many workers remain wary. With Consumer Reports' recent warning about the market collapse still fresh, trust is hard to come by. This movement isn't just about a paycheck. It's about survival in an industry standing at a crossroads. While voices echo outside the factories, inside American households, a different struggle plays out, one marked by sticker shock. For everyday consumers, the car market crisis is most visible in the price tag. The median price for a new vehicle in the US has soared past $48,000, a number that would have seemed outrageous just 10 years ago. Even used cars, long the go-to for budget-conscious buyers, now average over $27,000. At the same time, wage growth has slowed, making new cars feel out of reach for many. Families who once upgraded their vehicles every 5 or 6 years are now holding onto them for a decade or more. One couple in Florida shared that after doing the math on monthly payments for a new minivan, they gave up. They've decided to stick with their aging sedan and hope it lasts another 3 years. Rising insurance rates and fuel costs are only adding to the financial pressure, forcing many to prioritize maintenance over replacement. This economic strain is creating ripple effects. Trade-ins at dealerships are down. Auto repair shops are booked weeks in advance. Part suppliers are struggling to keep up. Fewer car sales mean more repairs. But even that backup plan is now buckling under demand. Now, even keeping an old car running has become a battle. In a small Iowa town, a mechanic shakes his head over a broken-down pickup truck. The part needed, a simple electronic module, has been on backorder for 3 months. He's contacted every supplier, searched across state lines, even scoured online auctions. Still nothing. His customer is stuck without transportation and relying on neighbors to get around. Meanwhile, the shop is losing thousands in potential revenue. This isn't an isolated case. Across the country, average wait times for critical car parts have more than doubled since before the pandemic. For specific components, like sensors or high-voltage battery packs, delays can stretch for 6 months or more. As availability drops, prices rise. A repair that cost $800 2 years ago might now run over $1,200, if the parts are even available. The root causes. They're the same ones haunting new car production. Global supply chain problems, chip shortages, shipping delays, and geopolitical issues affecting raw materials. Independent repair shops are hit hardest. Unlike corporate chains, they often can't compete for limited parts. That means longer wait times for customers, missed work days, disrupted family routines, and a growing sense of frustration. But this is just a preview of the chaos now reaching the automakers themselves. Detroit is rewriting its entire playbook. The big three, General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis, have spent years building ambitious plans for an electric future. Their roadmaps promise dozens of new EV models by the early 2030s. But with demand collapsing, borrowing costs rising, and consumer reports sounding the alarm, those grand visions are being urgently revised. What were once investor-pleasing announcements are now being reworked as damage control. Inside boardrooms, tension is high. Executives are tearing up glossy presentations and drawing crisis response plans instead. Production schedules have been rewritten almost overnight. Entire model lines are being quietly scrapped. Every decision feels like a gamble. Cut too much and risk missing the rebound. Cut too little and risk total failure. Ford, for example, has just delayed the launch of 2 upcoming EV models, citing concerns about whether the market is truly ready. General Motors is scaling back production at one of its leading electric vehicle, EV plants, and redirecting resources toward hybrid models, a pivot they had largely resisted until now. Stellantis has also hit pause on a compact EV line meant for the North American market, shifting its engineering teams to focus on more profitable international projects instead. Privately, executives now admit what's become increasingly obvious. The initial EV boom has slowed, and in some segments, it's stalled altogether. High sticker prices, limited charging infrastructure, and lingering concerns about reliability are forcing a shift in strategy. What once looked like a straight and certain path to an all-electric future is starting to feel like a winding road filled with detours. This isn't just a strategic reset. It's a scramble for survival. That moment of hesitation opened the door for smaller, faster-moving competitors to step in. While the big three adjust course, more agile automakers are seizing the opportunity. Foreign brands, especially from South Korea and China, are flooding the US market with affordable hybrids and compact EVs designed specifically to undercut American offerings. Recent market data shows Korean manufacturers growing their share of the US market by more than 3 percentage points over the past year, gains that have come largely at Detroit's expense. Their showrooms are buzzing. Test drive slots are booked solid. Orders are flying in faster than factories can keep up. Their pitch to customers is simple and effective: practicality, performance, and price, all without breaking the bank. In a market drowning in negative headlines, these brands are among the few offering excitement and momentum. A standout in this surge is BYD, the Chinese automaker quietly making inroads through fleet sales and niche dealers. Their affordable electric sedans and crossovers aren't just competitively priced, they're actually arriving on time, thanks to vertically integrated supply chains that include their own battery production. Hyundai and Kia are also capitalizing. Their new hybrid models come in thousands of dollars below comparable American vehicles, without sacrificing key features. For consumers squeezed by high prices and wary of steep monthly payments, the appeal is obvious. Dealers are seeing longtime loyalists to American brands walk in looking for Chevys or Fords, and leave with the keys to a Korean or Chinese car instead. This shift is more than just business, it's quickly becoming political. The growing foreign presence in the US auto market has sparked new debates in Washington about trade policy, and the future of domestic manufacturing Congress has taken notice. Hearings are being held to examine the challenges facing US automakers, with some lawmakers proposing targeted subsidies and even full-scale bailouts. One side argues for higher tariffs on imported vehicles to protect American jobs. The other warns this could backfire, pushing car prices even higher for struggling consumers. Behind closed doors, lobbyists are already hard at work. Industry leaders are urging lawmakers to act fast, warning that without federal support, layoffs will ripple across nearly every district in the country. It's not just about economics. It's a political battle, with both sides framing the crisis either as a national emergency or the necessary result of a market correction. Lobbyists representing the Big Three are flooding Capitol Hill, pressing for protective measures against foreign competition and volatile raw material markets. Proposals under discussion include expanding EV tax credits, offering low-interest loans to struggling automakers, and ramping up incentives for domestic battery production. Critics, however, argue that bailing out companies that fail to read the market only delays needed reforms. They say propping up legacy automakers with taxpayer dollars amounts to corporate welfare. Town halls in manufacturing-heavy states are now packed. Union members demand protection, while fiscal conservatives push back hard. The debate cuts across political lines. It's not just Democrats versus Republicans, but a deeper divide between economic priorities and ideological beliefs. Meanwhile, the industry's most visible failure is unfolding in real time. One brand has become the unfortunate symbol of the collapse. Rivian, once hailed as the EV startup that would rival Tesla. The company's meteoric rise has been followed by an equally dramatic fall. Quarterly losses have exploded into the billions. Revenue has failed to meet even the most modest projections. Dealerships now resemble ghost towns, with rows of unsold vehicles baking in the sun. Sales staff who once managed back-to-back customers now pace around empty showrooms. Even service bays are quiet. Fewer new owners mean fewer vehicles to service. Over the past 6 months, Rivian has closed or idled 3 assembly facilities, leaving thousands without work. Many of its dealership partners, who had invested heavily in new locations, are now seeing so little foot traffic that some are considering shutting down altogether. The brand's image, once associated with innovation and rugged adventure, is now clouded by reliability issues, missed delivery deadlines, and recalls tied to critical components. Financial analysts blame Rivian's rapid expansion, calling it a case of overreaching, made worse by a cooling EV market and fierce competition from both traditional automakers and nimble foreign rivals. For everyday consumers, Rivian's fall is a stark reminder. Even the most hyped, well-funded startups aren't immune to economic reality, and for the industry at large, it's a cautionary tale. Misjudging the moment, overestimating demand, underestimating competition can be fatal, and the consequences ripple far beyond one brand or one company. The US auto market doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's a vast ecosystem connected to steel, plastics, electronics, semiconductors, and countless other sectors. When vehicle sales plummet, the pain doesn't stop at the dealership or the assembly line. It shoots down the supply chain at full speed. Steel mills that once stamped out body panels are slowing production. Plastics companies that supply interior components are scaling back. Chip makers that build everything from entertainment systems to advanced safety features are cutting shifts and laying off workers. Steel production is slowing. Plastics factories are scaling back. Electronics suppliers are watching orders disappear. Each of these industries is tightly linked to automakers, and when the auto market hits trouble, the impact is immediate. Profit margins shrink. Expansion plans are shelved. Layoffs that companies hope to avoid are now back on the table. Recent trade data shows steel demand from the auto sector has dropped nearly 15% in just 1 year, costing domestic mills hundreds of millions in lost revenue. Plastic and polymer producers are facing similar cuts. Semiconductor manufacturers, once prioritizing the auto industry, are now shifting focus to consumer tech and defense contracts. These pivots may help keep factories running, but not without consequences. Thousands of workers tied to auto manufacturing are being laid off. The pain spreads to trucking companies, shipping ports, and warehouses, all of which rely on the steady flow of new vehicles and auto parts. As that flow slows, paychecks shrink. In many towns, the auto industry is the biggest private employer. So when it falters, entire local economies start to suffocate. And the ripple effects don't stop at manufacturing. They're now hitting home, quite literally. How a slowdown in car sales is disrupting home loans. When millions of people can't qualify for a car loan, banks take it as a warning sign. Auto lending is a key indicator of household credit health. If defaults rise, financial institutions begin tightening up all kinds of lending, including mortgages. Over the last year, several regional banks have raised lending standards, citing the growing risk in auto loans. That's made it harder to get approved for a mortgage, small business loan, or even a personal credit line. One family in Arizona lived through this domino effect. After being denied an SUV loan due to high interest rates and stricter credit checks, they later had their mortgage application delayed and then rejected. The reason? Their existing debt load, including the failed car loan, triggered a risk flag. This tightening spreads anxiety far beyond dealerships. Home builders slow down new projects. Real estate agents see homes sit on the market longer. Renters find fewer vacancies as home ownership becomes harder to reach. And this credit freeze is creeping into places no one expected. Even if you don't own a car, you're still paying for this. Living in a walkable city doesn't make you immune to a collapsing car market. In fact, you're likely seeing the impact every day in the rising cost of goods and services. Transportation is the backbone of logistics. When new trucks aren't hitting the roads, older ones take their place, costing more to run and maintain. That drives up fuel usage, maintenance fees, and delivery costs, which all get passed directly to you. Delivery services, from national couriers to local grocery drop-offs, are increasing their rates. Rideshare companies, already dealing with a shortage of drivers and high vehicle prices, are charging more just to stay afloat. According to federal data, transportation-related inflation has outpaced overall inflation for 18 months straight. So even if you never step into a dealership, the crisis is hitting you at the grocery store, in your Amazon cart, and on your Uber receipt. The connection between transportation and commerce is so tight that no one escapes the impact. But rising costs are just the start. What's coming next may fundamentally change how we think about car ownership, the end of car ownership as we know it. If you're still with me, you're already ahead of most people who don't yet realize how deeply this shift will touch their lives. The car market isn't just collapsing, it's transforming. And automakers are beginning to accept that the future won't look like the past. Burned by overproduction and plummeting sales, companies are now rethinking the entire ownership model. Instead of focusing solely on selling more cars, they're exploring new business models that prioritize access over ownership. Subscription-based services, where customers pay a monthly fee to access different models as needed, are gaining traction. Shared mobility platforms are expanding, combining rideshare, short-term rentals, and corporate fleets into all-in-one solutions. Electric vehicles, while currently facing short-term demand issues, remain central to long-term strategies. Infrastructure investment is still moving forward, just with a new mindset. Fewer cars, used more efficiently, generating consistent profit. For consumers, this could mean the end of traditional car buying. In cities, people may rely entirely on subscription fleets. In rural areas, buyers might see longer-lasting, modular vehicles designed to be upgraded over time instead of replaced. The collapse is forcing the industry to face inefficiencies it could once afford to ignore, but not anymore. And the next disruption? It's already waiting in the wings. What you've just read isn't speculation. It's reality, already unfolding. Automakers see it, markets feel it, and now you know it. If you found this insightful, don't forget to subscribe to the Timefold channel and hit that like button. You'll want to be ahead of the curve before the rest of the world scrambles to catch up.